Before we dive in, go ahead and like, subscribe, and share. And don't forget to comment down below. Let's have a fun, lively chat. And yeah, let's get into it. So, with that, let's go. So, for our first story, we're going to be talking about Simon Guobadia. As we all know, he made his debut on The Real Housewives of Atlanta by way of his then wife, Fallon. So, Fallon was a friend of trying to get her peach, and all of a sudden, it came out that he was dating, engaged to Porsha. I personally thought it was very gross, disgusting, whack as hell. I will never mess with Porsha after that. I had my issues with her before. Obviously, not personally, just like on the shows and stuff like that, because she was so violent and so unapologetically violent, like fighting with Nene and fighting with Kenya and fighting with Cynthia, fighting some assistant in an alley. Like, she was just out of control with her violence, and I never liked that. And she never really got checked. She only got rewarded for it. Even when she got her spinoff show, she was literally physically trying to fight the grandmother of her daughter. She was trying to fight Dennis, the hot dog man, another alleged fraud. His mother, she was trying to fight him, and then she was fighting production. So my issue with Porsha, girl, sit all the way down. Bye with that. And then when it came out that she was engaged to her, let's just say coworker. We don't even have to say friend, because we know on these shows they fake the friendships. But still, like, you're on a reality show, you're acting like you're friends with this girl, you are in her home, you're all in her face, you are coworkers, and then while she is not only still married to this man, but pregnant, regardless of paternity of the child, she's pregnant and she's married to this man, and you turn around and say that this is now your fiance while he is legally married to your coworker, who you have been lying on television and saying is your friend. Skanky, disgusting, nasty, next. But this is the thing. Karma comes back real quick. You got him through a weird, shady way. That's how you're going to live. Again, remember that, and exactly, Tay-Tay, Dungeon Gate, I wasn't messing with Porsha after that either. Saying that Candy and Todd were going to drug her and then do sexual acts to her in their dungeon. That is criminal. That's SA. That is our ape. You know what I'm saying? That's not okay. Like, you can't accuse someone of SAing you or going to SA you or SAing other people. That's huge. That's why that's why Phaedra got fired. That's why Porsha, she came back on a couple more seasons when she apologized to Candy. But after all of that, I'm like, Porsha, you're not stupid. You might be dumb, but you're not stupid. Do you know what I mean? Porsha's not a stupid person. She knew what she was saying. She knew the implications of what she was saying, and she knew she had no proof of it. That's huge. I personally really do like Candy Burris. I know some people think she's boring or flat or whatever, but I like her. I think she's great. But regardless if you like her or not, being accused of SAing someone or going to SA someone is a really big deal. Not only for your business and your money, but she's also a mother and she has children. What if there wasn't an investigation? What if, Child Protective Services got involved? She's saying that this is happening in her home, some dungeon where they go and like drug and SA people. I'm assuming the children are sleeping in the household. It had much bigger implications than just, oh, she's reading you and this is some tea. We have to be really, really careful with our kikis and our teas and our shade, because they have real life consequences, not just people's businesses and monies, but also to their families. And Porsha's not stupid. She knew what she was saying, and she knew the implications of it. That's why at the reunion, she got up there and was like, Phaedra said it. Phaedra was the one, because she was throwing the bone back. She was like, whoa, I'm not trying to go down with this. I know what I did was wrong. I knew I was lying through my teeth, but I'm not going to take the bullet for this. Phaedra. And then that's why Phaedra got fired. So Porsha is 100% getting her karma for how dirty she did Candy, for how violent she's been in the past, and for how dirty she did Fallon. Because this is the thing with that. And then I'll finish my rant in a little bit. But I'm on one right now. And then I'll get into Simon's, fraud, alleged fraud, because don't come after me, Simon, because you need some coins. Leave me alone. I'm just on YouTube. Leave me alone. Anyway, back to my rant about Porsha. This is the thing. Let's just pretend, for pretend's sake, that Porsha really just happened to fall in love with Simon, her co-star, her co-worker's husband, that they're still legally married with, that she was all in this woman's face in her home. Let's just say she just happened to fall in love with him and she knew he was the one for her. Okay, cool. But why the disrespect? Because I get it. Life can be messy sometimes. Let's just pretend she really did fall in love with him and not fall in love with the life he probably was promising her. You see all these cars Fallon has? These cars can be yours. You see this big house we live in? This house could be yours. You see all the travel we go on? You could be traveling with us. I'm sure he sold her a bill of goods the same way he sold it to Fallon. And pop it open, Porsha had no problem popping it open because she thought there was going to be some coins involved. She wanted the car, she wanted the houses, she wanted the vacation, she wanted the life. In my personal opinion, do I think Porsha fell in love with Simon Guobadia? Hell no. No, I think she fell in love with the life. I think she saw Fallon and thought that should be me. That's what I think really happened. I don't think she fell in love with Simon. I think she's still in love with Dennis the hot dog man, but Dennis the hot dog man don't want her. And I think she's been reeling from that forever. I think if she had it her way, she would be with Dennis the hot dog man, but he clearly doesn't want her. And so she was like, I see Fallon living this life. That life should be me. I don't think she fell in love with Simon. But let's just pretend she did. Okay, cool. Sometimes life can be messy. You can't help who you fall in love with. My issue with Porsha is why embarrassment and why the disrespect? You know, like posting on Instagram that this is now your fiance and, you know, going out with him in the ring and this, that, and the third. And I don't know Fallon and who's that. And she's this chick and blah, 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 blah. It's like that really was it for me. Like, you don't have to try to embarrass and malign and dismiss and disrespect the woman that you are trying to replace. You know, oh, Fallon was doing this and she was doing that. Who cares? That's her marriage and her business. Don't try and act like anything Fallon did or did not do justifies you having sex with your coworker's husband and then putting it on Instagram that you are engaged to her husband. I don't care what Fallon was doing. I don't care if Fallon was cheating on him with every Tom, Dick, and Harry in the world. It still doesn't justify your actions, Porsha. But people love to do that. They love when they do dirt. They love to try to malign the person that they did dirty to, as if that justifies their dirt that they're doing. It doesn't. It just makes you look thirsty, pathetic, desperate, and sad. And I'm not defending Fallon. You know, I don't know her or anything like that. I'm just looking at it from a woman, human perspective. What I'm doing in my marriage is my business. It does not justify you coming up into my house, playing in my face, and the entire time you're scheming to replace me. Because that's what I think Porsha did. I think she walked into that woman's house. She saw all the houses. She saw the money. She saw the jewelry. She saw the cars. And she thought that should be me. That's what I really think happened. But now karma's coming back. Okay, now let's get into his alleged fraud. And it is what it is. Now, here we go. Now, this is according to BNN Breaking. Ugh, it's a lot, you guys. It's a lot. So let's buckle up. Let's buckle up. It says, Simon Guobadia's quest for citizenship, a tale of fraud, identity, and the pursuit of the American dream. Simon Guobadia's quest for U.S. citizenship involving fraud and false identities illustrates the complexities of immigration law. His recent court denial emphasizes the challenges of redemption and pursuing a better life. In a twist that sounds like it's ripped straight from the script of a primetime drama, Simon Guobadia, known to many as the husband of Real Housewives of Atlanta star Porsha Williams, and I'm going to insert the ex-husband of Real Housewives of Atlanta friend of Fallon, Guobadia, finds himself in a legal quagmire, spotlighting the complex narrative of immigration, identity, and the pursuit of the American dream. Recently, a federal court in Atlanta has turned down Guobadia's plea for U.S. citizenship, citing a history mired in criminality and deceit that reads more like a plot of a thriller than a citizenship application. From visitor to fugitive, the saga begins. Simon Guobadia's journey to the United States began in 1982, arriving as a child on a visitor's visa. However, this initial entry, rather than being the start of a straightforward immigrant tale, marked the beginning of a decades-long saga of fraud and false identities. By 1991, after overstaying his visa, Guobadia found himself on the wrong side of the law, ordered to be deported. The following year, in a move that would set the stage for later legal battles, he was physically removed from the United States. Yet, the narrative did not end there. Demonstrating a resilience or perhaps recklessness that would define his subsequent actions, Guobadia managed to re-enter the US, this time under a different identity. Through this new alias, he obtained a green card by fraudulent means, effectively becoming a permanent resident under the radar of immigration authorities. A tale of fraudulence. The layers of Simon Guobadia's past began to unravel further when it was revealed that his path to supposed legitimacy was paved with multiple felonies, including bank fraud, credit card fraud, and identity theft. These revelations came to light during his application for U.S. citizenship, an application that would be denied not once, but twice. Initially in 2016, Guobadia's attempt at naturalization was rejected due to his permanent resident status being unlawfully granted. Undeterred, he filed another application in 2020, only to face denial once more for not being lawfully admitted for permanent residence. In a final bid to overturn the series of rejections, Guobadia filed a complaint in 2023, asking the court to vacate the denial and grant him U.S. citizenship. However, this plea was dismissed in 2024, with the court pointing to his criminal past and illegal entry into the country as insurmountable barriers to his claim. You guys, I am not a lawyer, and I am definitely not an immigration lawyer, but I am a little confused. And I'm going to tell you what I'm confused on. And let me know what you guys think. And then I'm going to finish the article really quickly. How is he not a US citizen, but he's been married to not one, but at least to two American citizens? Isn't when you get married to an American citizen, you get US citizenship? Or does it have to be after 2 years or certain things? I don't know. Anybody who is more well-versed in immigration law when it comes to being married to US citizens? Because I always thought people got married for green cards. Obviously for love, yes. But isn't it the whole thing where it's like, oh, they got married to make sure so this person could stay in the US? Maybe it's after a certain amount of years. How long has Porsha and Simon been allegedly married? You know what I mean? So that's a little confusing to me. And then also he was married to Fallon. Weren't they married for multiple years? And prior to Fallon, I'm sure he was married before her. I'm sure he was. It seems like he's been married multiple times. So how did he not become a legal US citizen through the marriages? Are these real marriages? Or are these fake marriages? I don't know. But that's something to question. Okay. The impact beyond the courtroom. The decision of the federal court in Atlanta does not merely mark the end of a legal battle for Simon Guobadia. It underscores the intricate and often unforgiving nature of immigration law. Guobadia's case is a stark reminder of the consequences of fraudulent actions on the quest for citizenship, a quest that is, for many, fraught with challenges, but ideally pursued through lawful means. For Porsha Williams and her family, this ruling casts a shadow over their future, raising questions about the implications of Guobadia's legal status on their lives in Atlanta. It also thrusts them into the center of a public discourse on immigration, identity, and redemption, topics that resonate far beyond the realm of reality TV. In the broader context, Simon Guobadia's ordeal is a narrative thread in the complex tapestry of American immigration. This is the thing. This article is being very nice about Simon, but I feel like he was denied not because of his illegal attempts to gain citizenship, but I feel like it may have been denied because of his, and I'll say alleged business fraud. You know, he has had fraud allegations against him for a very, very long time. You know, bank and credit card fraud. You know, it says in September of 1987, Simon Guobadia was arrested for bank and credit card fraud and pleaded guilty to the felony. Simon Guobadia was again arrested in January of 1989 for the unauthorized use of a vehicle and arrested once more in May of 1990 for fraud. So he has a past of fraud. Now it's in Reality Blurb saying that he was convicted of 2 felonies. This one's from Reddit, that he has a scammer history of fraud and fake identities. So that is a big thing, you know? Yikes. Thank you, Soft and Spicy. He says, I believe they get married for permanent residency green card, which is different from citizenship. Thank you. That's a good point. Thank you for that, because I had a brain freeze. I was like, wait a minute. He's been married multiple times, but the marriage gives them residency, but not citizenship. Gotcha. Good. Okay. Makes sense. Makes sense. Which is why, and shout out to Soft and Spicy for that, because I had a brain freeze. Because now this is also making me think about Teresa and Joe Giudice. You know, he got deported back to Italy after he did his time for his fraud because he wasn't a citizen. But because he married Teresa, he had permanent residency. It's giving those vibes. So what do you guys think about this? And then also, this has a lot of questions. Do you think he should be granted U.S. citizenship when he has a history of fraud? Not just fraud trying to stay in the country, because I think there's levels to it. You know, not all crimes are the same, in my personal opinion. I do think that there's a moral compass. Just because something might be, quote, illegal, in my opinion, doesn't always equate to it being immoral. That's just me. So I think that if someone is doing identity theft and fraud because they're desperate to stay in the country for whatever reasons, even though it may be illegal, I understand that. You know, I don't think that's necessarily immoral. There's a difference between what is immoral versus what is illegal. You know, I understand that. However, even though it's being confirmed out there, I'm still going to say alleged, his alleged crimes aren't that. They're bank fraud, they're credit card fraud, they're scamming fraud, it's business fraud, it's white collar fraud, it's scamming people, it's all of that stuff. So to me, that is immoral as well as illegal. So I'm kind of okay with him not getting citizenship if it's for those reasons. The same way I was okay with Joe Giudice being deported. He scammed the U.S. government, taxpayers' money. You know, so I'm okay with you being deported. You scammed our government. You scammed us, our taxpayers, you know? And so I'm okay with that. I think it's very, in my Nene voice, is it a coincidence? that all of this is happening literally like the day after Porsha confirms she's coming back to Atlanta for season 16 or 15, whatever season it is? Probably not. Because again, a lot of these narcissistic scammer frauds, the reason why they're like that is because they think they are above the law. They think they're untouchable. And then they have the audacity to go on reality TV. So, do I think Simon probably could have continued to fly under the radar if he was not such a public person? Yeah, probably. Probably. Same thing with Tom Girardi, the Giudices, the Phaedra and Apollos of the world, you know, the Jen Shaws, you know, it's like these people who are so clearly committing fraud, and yet they still go on reality TV, somehow thinking they're not going to get called and caught and called out. But it does the opposite because it actually pisses off the feds and it pisses off our government. Because one thing that these powerful institutions, like the legal institution and the, you know, protector institutions like the police and the feds and the FBI and the CIA and the judicial system, they don't like it when people thumb their nose to them, where people kind of stick it to them, where people think they've gotten one over on them or they have egg on their face, where the world knows these people are committing frauds and scams and they think they're getting over on it. Those institutions don't play. So when you try to get one over on those types of institutions, they come after you worse because they want to make a public example of you. Yikes. Porsha, I'm not being mean, but I don't feel bad for you. You made your bed, you lie in it. You know, and I'm not defending Fallon or by any means, you know, I don't know these people personally, but just as a human being and as a woman, when another woman so publicly tries to humiliate and degrade another woman to justify sleeping with that woman's husband, that's disgusting to me. That's just another level of disgustingness from me. You know, don't try and justify sleeping with some woman's husband by trying to malign her. You don't have to be friends with someone to just have common human decency. And that was my issue with Porsha. You want to get the bag, you want to replace her, you want everything she has. You're in love, you're quote in love with him, which I don't think you are. Cool. But it was the way you moved that told me everything I needed to know about you as a person. Because you moved dirty. You moved real dirty. So you lay down with dogs, you wake up with fleas. So Porsha, I don't feel bad for you. I heard some outlets being like, oh, now Portia's going to have a storyline for the next season because of his fraud and all this stuff. And that just gave me confirmation that I'm not messing with the Real Housewives of Atlanta anymore. The fact that they even brought Porsha back to me was really sad and pathetic and desperate. I don't want to see Portia's journey anymore. I want new people, fresh faces. And the fact that they brought her back and the fact that people are like, oh, now she's a storyline. Yeah, I'm done because I don't want storylines of fraud. Don't we have enough? Why is it the storyline is that your husband has been called out by the US government for being a fraud and a scammer, and he's probably going to be deported? Why is that something to be revered as somebody's storyline? I don't want that. I want to see a woman who is thriving and having fun, and the storyline is how spoiled she is, how happy she is, how lavish and luxury her life is. She's opening this boutique just because she wants to. She's flying to France for some beignets just because she wants to. She's flying to London to go on a shopping spree just because she wants to. You know, like, I want the storylines to be like, we're fighting because I wanted to have I wanted to fly on my private jet, but then she wanted everybody to fly on her private jet. Can you believe that? She's always trying to blah, 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 outshine me. Like, that's the pettiness that I want. That's the storylines that I want. I'm so sick and tired of this dark, evil fraud being glorified. Who wants to emulate that? I'm done with it. Ugh. All right, I'm gonna get off my rant, but it's too much. It's too much. But I want to know what you guys think. It had been out there for years about Simon Guobadia's fraud, him being a scammer. What do you think about everything coming to light? Do you think he'll be deported? Do you think he deserves citizenship or no? Because you came to America and you scammed us. Do you deserve to be a citizen? Yes or no? And then what do you think about Porsha returning to the Real Housewives of Atlanta? Are we here for it? Are we not here for it? Are you watching? Are you not watching? I won't be watching. I'm not here for it. Simon, kick rocks. I don't know what to tell you. So put it down below and let me know what you guys think. And as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. So with that, let's move on to our next